This is Winston. At age 65, he was able to set down the tools, kick up his feet, and retire with time to enjoy all that life has to offer. Maybe he's got a rental property or investment portfolio topping up the savings account, ready to splash out on the next flashy car that takes his fancy. After all, there's some extra cash coming his way now. That treat we know in New Zealand as a taxpayer funded universal pension. That's right, old third freest economy New Zealand, so called bastion of responsible fiscal governance, provides every golden oldie, rich or poor, a universal basic income. And Kiwis love it. What's not to love about a cool $1,500 every month in your hands, direct from the government coffers? Sure, it's only the government's single largest expenditure item, costing us over $25 million daily. That's what you deserve for a lifetime of paying taxes, right? But what happens by 2050, when a quarter of our population is claiming a pension, when the cost jumps to over $186 million daily? Well, folks, I can give you a hint. It's not looking pretty for the New Zealand economy. The universal pension is untouchable in the current political climate, so much so that none of our political parties have shown any interest in means testing the pension, despite widespread awareness of the problem. What if there was something we could do, though, just to shift that Overton window, to get that ball rolling, opening the door to long-term reform? Back with our old pal Winston. While he was able to retire at age 65, I forgot to mention he had no interest in doing so. You see, the Right Honourable Winston Peters isn't the typical 74-year-old. He's our Deputy Prime Minister. He's one of the highest earners in our public sector, taking home over $300,000 annually. It'd be nice to live in a world where these bureaucrats and politicians were satisfied with their six-figure salaries, but unfortunately that's not the case. Our highest paid public servants aren't content with a simple salary, so they're claiming a pension too. This is what we at the Taxpayers Union like to call a double dip, and this is how we ditch the double dip in 3 easy steps. Firstly, we identify and publicly expose those guilty of double dipping in rich lists, published online and in newspapers, with their mugshots. Each week of the campaign will focus on one of the offending public servants, encouraging our supporters to contact them personally, calling on them to forfeit their pension, starting with old mate Winston, of course. As the pressure mounts, we watch those dominoes fall. Finally, we turn public outrage into a sustained campaign, using both online and physical petitions and a custom-built email tool through which taxpayers can use our pre-written email to contact the leaders of our two major political parties, asking them to commit to ditch the double dip. You see, this campaign is modelled after a campaign we ran last year, to stop the government taking on a dastardly capital gains tax, achieving our goal within months. Not only did we succeed in axing the tax, the Prime Minister went so far as to say she would never implement a capital gains tax so long as she was in charge. We're uniquely positioned with the credibility needed to pull off this policy change. The audience for Ditch the Double Dip will start with our committed membership base, which we expect to grow as part of this campaign. Kiwis hate the extravagant payment packages offered to bureaucrats already, something we will use in our favour to drum up support. Our current timeline predicts we can implement these first few steps within 4 months to kickstart a long-term but transformative campaign. Our total budget is just over $16,000, with the seed funding we're asking of you today to be allocated to the online and physical advertisements. The remaining funds will go towards the cost of building our email tool. We anticipate having 5,000 points of contact to the party leaders by taxpayers, 13,000 signatures on the petition, and a policy commitment by either main party to ditch the double dip by exempting top-tier bureaucrats and politicians from claiming a pension while receiving a taxpayer-funded salary. It's worth noting that the population of New Zealand is less than 5 million, so while these numbers may seem small to you, we know from experience it's more than enough to enable real change. We anticipate that the double dip will be made a talking point at the upcoming election, given the pivotal timing. This breeds the perfect environment for either party to claim the solution early on, which drives momentum and pressure for the change in policy. Ditch the Double Dip isn't a campaign to reinvent the wheel. It's about finding where universality is least defendable and leveraging that momentum to move the pension system from a taboo to an issue of political debate, and we'd love your support, preferably before Winston's next BMW. Thank you.